Well, folks, welcome to another 1 versus 1 cast. This is a ladder game between Neptunio and Clopse. I'm just going to hop in on any old spawn and see what happens. And kaboom! There he goes. Let us zoom right back out into regular camera mode now because the game has begun between Neptune and Clopse. I will refer to Neptunio as Neptune. Because it is slightly easier. Right, so Clopse is near the South Pole this time, and he's already gone for the mechs energy, and will probably go for another 2 mexes and then a factory. And looking around to find Neptunio now, desperately in fact. Have I missed their spawn because of... There we are, just down here, hiding away around a few rocks. We have Neptunio. Gone 2 mechs before the energy in this one. Probably going to go and get another mechs. In fact, no, a factory first up. Whether it'll be an energy or will it be a 3rd mechs? Yes, it will. And indeed, we have a vehicle factory from Clopse. Now that'll probably want to get out some early scouting, given that this is a huge map. Although you probably might see some fabricators peeking in just before the skitter gets built, given the size of the map, because you can be reasonably sure that they aren't actually all that close to you. And indeed, we do see the fabricators making their way out first. On maps this size, you can usually be sure that the distance travelled between your 2 bases is going to be a reasonable amount. I mean, here you don't need to worry too much about this in the early stages, given that both players have to scout the entire map, or think they do. So hopefully that won't be too much of a problem, and both players going for that fabricator, following up with an energy from Neptune now, and Clopse doing the same but with a couple more mechs. Fabricator coming over here, whether they'll expand to all of these mech sites over here and make a sort of secondary base stretching up north. We'll have to see whether that actually formulates later on. Neptune also got a lot of mechs around here up north, so we'll probably see both players making a sort of expansion in this sort of region here, and also sort of here and around this side of the crevasse possibly, with a lot more defense there. So we're getting 3 fabricators out instantly, getting a lot of energy here. Probably going to follow up with a second factory after that one. At least that is my build order right there, but we'll just have to see what formulates from that. The skitter is now out from Neptunio, so they can start scouting away. They do have that fabricator there, as I said, already going up for this mech site, just sending the scouts ahead to make sure that it is free and it is safe to colonize. And indeed, there is the next factory from Clopse there, continuing to build up with the econ with the commander. The early econ with the commander building is really quite essential, given the rate of the build from the commander is quite substantially greater than the fabricators. So you want to be utilising your commander in terms of your econ building as much as possible in the early game. We now have the skitters out from Clopse, so those are going to also get scouting. Neptune is going to come down here, and they are going to see this expansion, and they are going to wonder, ooh, if you're expanding there, where is your original base? And they're probably going to continue on this line of scouting until they do find Clopse's base. And indeed, they have seen that now. They will continue to follow down here. Wonder whether they'll meet the commander or whether they'll just sort of sit there and harass that builder. Indeed they will. They're trying to stop that mechs from being built. They won't do it in time. Unfortunately, we're just a little bit too slow on that. The mechs will go up, but the fabricator is going to try and run away as fast as is mechanically possible. And a 4th factory going up now. We have 3 vehicles and an air going up, so probably getting some air scouts, maybe some later bombers. We will just have to see what happens there. Neptune now also has 3 factories. They do not have the air factory yet though, but they do have this mechs expansion going up here with their commander, so that's increasingly rapid in terms of the production there. Look at how fast that is being built. Incredibly so for early econ, and especially if you have these 2 fabricators building these factories. Probably going to get another factory building as well once this energy is done to make that economically viable. And indeed, there was a factory there that tried to get built and was destroyed, obviously, by the scout that went around Whether they actually saw the whole base, we're not sure, but they can have a rough guide as to where it is, given that they have seen this mech site over here, so they can probably assume any nearby clumps of mechs will hold the base, and that will indeed be this clump here. And indeed we also see the Clopse has fully expanded round here. We'll probably see them expand to this one as well, which is protected by these two crevasses here, in terms of having to massive travel distances. That we're starting to see some ants being produced now by both players. Clopse and Neptunio have got a load of ants. Clopse sending some ants already over in a sort of miniature task force, just reducing that time that they all would be, rather than grouping them all in the base, sending them to a rally point over here, and then they have less distance to travel as a clump. And indeed there's the bumblebee going around, just eliminating any form of early intel advantage of Neptune. They didn't quite manage to get anything else done. They did get shot down by those ants, unfortunately, but they'd also got a good bit of scouting on the base, so that'll also indicate where the weaknesses are, and indeed that would imply poking up from the south just to say, hello, I'm being annoying, using your flank. And indeed we do see them coming back round now. Going to utilise this. He's seen that the ants are all up there. What Neptune might be wise to do now, given that he has been scouted, is move to that, and indeed he is with all of these ants. He's thinking, okay, what would I do if I was in Clopse's position, just getting that intel there on an exposed flank, and I'm going to go and counter that, because I'm intelligent like that. And indeed the bomber does go around. Are these ants going to continue? No, they aren't. They have seen them. They are going to cut their losses. They are going to run away. That was a very fortunate scout there from Clopse. Those ants are now going to continue to run down. Maybe it might be wise to just bring another ant or two over to help these, because these are going to continue regardless. This is going to be your early form of attack wave. In fact, no, they're just going to sit there. That bomber continuing to just take out these fabricators, denying any form of early construction, intel and econ. And indeed they only have 3 remaining now. They did have, and in fact make that 2. In fact no, that's 3. They've just built another one. But even so, that bumblebee is doing a lot of damage to their production capabilities. Meanwhile in Clopse's base we have a huge number of factories in comparison to Neptune. Huge number in comparison. Look at this. That is a ridiculous amount of factories right there. And we have the commander building all of them as well. We've got the air factory there continuing to produce bombers, which will probably go over and continue to harass those worker lines. We've also got a lot of fabricators over here, probably going to all focus down on these mech sites to get them up incredibly rapidly. And we've got a lot of ants now as well, because of this vast production capability of, by the look of it, 7 vehicle factories now. 8 almost. And when they do get that 8 up, it will be time for Neptune to really start ramping up their production. I mean, they have got a bit more expansion than Clopse by the look of it at this point in terms of mech sites, but their production capability is very slow, and in here we have a little fight that is going to get completely denied by Neptune. But of course we do have the follow-up waves. They've seen, okay, if that's their only army, I can take that out with what I have. They're going to regroup down here and they're going to make another push. They have these ants over here just to distract and maybe follow up with a miniature push, but of course any denied unit counts. And with all of this production, it doesn't actually look as though Clopse can economically support, because we don't actually have all of the factories, unless they just have neglected this one in terms of the builds. Even so, it might be wise to get that building, because you do get that extra build power. These 4 ants here are going to get obliterated. Maybe they'll take out 1 in return. Indeed they will. Maybe 2. Yep, that counts there. And a 3rd. No, not quite. But now he's seen that there's a lot of ants sweeping down from the north now. He's going to want to move some of these up to try and counter that, and maybe even start to get some point defense. Maybe he'll decide to send some bombers up and eliminate some of those before they get a chance to reach that. And is going to go up and kill another. That is all good. These are going to come down here with a radar, and they're going to see probably the fact that there is this conglomeration down here and grouping. Meanwhile, we see a lot of factories going up from Neptune as well, up in the north. given that he thinks maybe his original base is a little bit exposed given the geography around it. So he's just going to go up here where there's a lot more mech sites where he can defend them easier, hence why the factories are built up there. But we also have the skitter up here, so if that can get a cheeky scout in there, see where the commander is. And indeed we see a lot of ants coming round the top. I say a lot, I don't mean a lot at all, I mean 2. There's a distinct difference between a lot and 2, especially when you're facing against a commander who is actually at this point walking away, so maybe the ants will be able to take out a mech site or even 2 if they are lucky. But we'll have to see. More vehicle factories going up all the time for both players. This one seems to have stalled currently with economy. Actually, no, it's being rebuilt now, but that's been being built for quite some time. But with this incredibly vast production power from Clopse, we will see a lot of ants pushing up now and beginning to outnumber Neptune in terms of numbers of units. I'm not sure what happened to Neptune's old force of ants, whether they got eliminated or whether they split up or whether they did decide to come back. Maybe this was that original force that we saw, but that radar is going to go. These ants are going to run around the side. They're going to just shoot off a few of these patrols here, just little skirmishes all over the place to see what is going on. These ants are going to hide behind this crevasse. These ones are going to push in now from Clopse. They're probably going to do a lot of damage to that army, and indeed that army goes away, following up with a long shot snipe over there for that ant. Just because that ant can't climb a rubber tree plant. But there we go, and we have a lot of them coming down now because they have seen this huge army of ants now, so they're going to want to have all of their forces in this one choke point, utilising anything they can. Maybe what you might want to do is even get up a cheeky wall and a point defence while this army is occupied here. And it is in fact going to run away. They have seen maybe we do not want to face off against this. We're going to wait until we have greater numbers, and they're not going to get out in time. Are they? Indeed, the ant army is going to push in now. These ones aren't quite up to capacity yet. We still have ones moving in, so maybe if Clopse can actually push in and do some more damage to these ants, we will see a victory to Clopse in this skirmish brawl here. Of course, Neptune's ants are going in single file. That is unwise. They do minimal damage there. They cannot focus down, and indeed he notices this. He's going to pull them all back. He's going to regroup them and wait for Clopse to make the push. It is always easier to fight on home ground than on away ground, especially as far as sport is concerned. Although maybe ant slaughter isn't sport, but you might consider it sport, so there we go. Just having a quick look around the rest of the planet here, we have these ants taking out these fabricators, denying any scouting up there. The bombers continuing to pound away here at Neptune's production and econ, taking out these fabricators, taking out these mech sites, and just making Neptune's life quite difficult right now. He's got him completely surrounded almost, and keeping him on his toes very well. Bombers constantly raiding, ants pressuring this choke point down here, so he can't have too many ants just loitering around the base hoping to get that little bit of anti-air capability. But as I say, it might be time for Neptune to make some sneaky decisions and maybe push around the side with a sort of larger mini army to maybe do some damage to Clopse's econ field. But what we do see now from Clopse is a tier 2 vehicle factory, 2 in fact, getting those levelers out in production there reasonably fast given all of those things assisting. Just looking at that, although it does appear as though their economy might have been stalled, it's not going up as fast as it could be and possibly should be with that many fabricators assisting. We will have to continue speculation on that front. This ant just stuck in the crevasse, being a little bit of a nuisance to this entire army here. Maybe Clopse is going to exploit the fact that that is somewhat distracting with all of those rockets just sat there, and indeed he's going to push in, take out some of those. Might be wise for Neptune to pull back now or even divert their fire. And that was a lot of damage to Neptune's forces without any, by the look of it, to Clopse's. And that radar is again going to go down. Fabricator going to run away. He's going to say, nope, I'm going to build this radar. I'm going to put it there. And I will not die. Not today. It is not this day. And this skitter going to come in. He's going to see that this commander is out in the open up here. maybe it's time for Clopse to really hammer down on some bombers. We might even see a tier 2 air factory going up in the near future, trying to exploit the fact that their commander is open up in the north there. But for now we just have constant tier 2 factories going up from Clopse. This is a huge amount of production and power coming out now. And these ants are going to push up to the top, seeing if they can do any damage to the commander. They are going to get denied that on their way. These ants from Neptune are going to say, nope, you must make an appointment before you meet with our commander. No way are we going to let you just stroll into the office and make a nuisance of yourself. Completely denied there by Neptune. Well played. These ants now going to continue to build up on all sorts of sides of Neptune's base now. Might be a time for Clopse to sort of get different groups of forces and completely surround the base and push in all as one. Divide and conquer, so the saying goes. And these bombers going to continue to pressure this econ beautifully, taking out fabricators, skitters, energy facilities. Going to come round, press up, doing a little bit of damage to the commander. Going to continue to pressure around in these energy sites, taking out, well, in fact, getting taken out, while continuing to destroy some of that energy. Going to hone in on that anti-air now. Or in fact, no, just going for the factories. Not doing a huge amount of damage there, actually. I wonder what happened there. They're probably going to get all taken down by these ants. No, in fact they aren't. And in fact, yes, they are. No, they aren't. And we have a huge army now, with levelers included from Clopse on this southern front of Neptune's base. Lots of bombers continuing to press out. This is a beautiful play here. And also some ants in here just to be annoying. Coming in and saying, hey, here's a back door. Close it. I mean, that was a little bit of a silly move there, a waste of ants. I mean, trying to push in there, assuming that they have got all of these factories around, you can probably assume that there's going to be ants sort of sitting around everywhere just being lazy. But they now have indicated to Neptune that that back door is exposed, so Neptune can think, okay, so I'm going to keep some ants over there just in case. But we have this huge army now pushing straight in from the south. We'll just have to see how far these get. Looking at it, it's not an evenly pitched battle. All of these fabricators here might be wise to get up some walls as soon as possible before they are all destroyed. And in fact, no, they will not manage it. They are going to all go down before anything is constructed there. Complete waste of fabricators. These ants are going to sit on the other side of this cliff, while these ants are just going to sit here, wondering what could possibly be worse than this. And the levelers are going to press in with these ants now. I say the levelers, there's only one remaining, but they're going to completely deny the force. And they are going to push in and really start to do some damage here while being uncontested. There is, by the look of it, no remaining force. We can see them in the north now, just beginning to reform and begin to push down again. But it looks as though this mech site might go down. And no, it will not. This army is going to come in and say, no, not today. And this force here from Clopse is going to get completely refute. Although, if my suspicions are correct, we will see a follow-up force on various different fronts. Yes, we do. Levelers coming in here with a few ants supported using that back door there. And a second force coming in here from the south. This is really where the greater production power from Clopse really comes into its own in terms of the getting ready for the follow-up fights. Clopse really expanding over here now. Lots of tier 2 factories, lots of rally points, lots of levelers, lots of ants. And Neptune is just left defending on the back foot all the time right now. He's got air to deal with, he's got tier 2 to deal with, and all he's got is a lot of tier 1 production. Some of it's only producing scouts. Oh, not scouts, apologies, anti-air. Spinners. These levelers are sort of caught out in the middle here. They're going to get surrounded by these ants, probably taken out in the process. And indeed they will. So that was a little bit of waste. Maybe wait until they're in slightly greater numbers. And here we have 5 grouping up together, plus some ants from the south, just retreating while they do get that grouping for the extra production power. Not production power. Power. Fighting power there. That tier 2 factory going up quite close to the front there. That is a little bit in danger of being shot before it goes up and producing levelers. But this army now really coming together with these levelers and putting a lot of pressure on Neptune to really get his army in gear, and also getting that tier 2 factory produced. And probably in the next few seconds we'll see this army push in, and wanting not to give Neptune too much time to rebuild. Indeed, the stage is set, and we come for another pitched battle here. How glorious is this? These levelers are going to decimate this ant army while getting taken out themselves, but the ants are going to sort of wander around, the pathfinding there being a little bit dubious. But they are going to defeat that, they are going to press in, and they are going to start to really pound through this base here. The ant's going to retreat, saying, nope, no, leave us alone, we want to be with our ant friends, who are going to get still produced up here, up north. But this army now is ready to come in. They probably want to fork west to try and eliminate these factories and the tier 2 one that we saw down there. And indeed, what happened there? What happened there, ladies and gents? Indeed, that looked as though the commander was a GG. And that was that. I'll get that on ChronoCam for you, or at least try. ChronoCam has been somewhat buggy. Okay, so we can see here I'm using ChronoCam to get the perspective on this commander while that base is being destroyed over there. He's not getting attacked by anything, so by the look of it, it was a suicidal GG there. And indeed, the game goes to Clopse. Let us just watch it happen in glorious Technicolor now. The commander going up there, killing those ants just out of spite, before saying, okay, boom, there he goes. Good game, Clopse and Neptune. Well played, well played. So, thanks again for joining me for another 1 vs 1 live cast, shoutcast, whatever you want to call it, cast, live commentary, etc, etc. Return on the following days for a lot of Planetary Annihilation. There is an event organised by the Realm on Sunday tomorrow called PA Day, and there will be a lot of PA games, a lot of recording opportunities, and I will get a lot done. Maybe even getting more than one upload per day. We will just have to see how that turns out. Thanks again for watching, folks. Don't forget to drop a like, to even ask a comment, or leave a comment, or whatever you want to do. I'll try and get back to you. And make sure you subscribe for a lot more coming your way very soon. Thanks again for watching. Have a nice day.